And we're live for another session of YEV. This is the Chargeheads EV and just normal car podcast, really, around, just a balanced viewpoint on all things car related, but with a little kind of spice of electric here, there, and everywhere. My name's Tim Aylen, and we've got Kevin Booker and Alex Grant with us as well. And what we normally do is we start off with what's happening in the electric vehicle world, and then we're going to find out about what Kevin's been doing, because Kevin's been transatlantic, haven't you, buddy?
Yeah, been stateside and doing a bit of EV spotting, as you do when you're over there. Well, not just EV spotting some other interesting vehicles as well.
Just vehicles?
Yeah, pretty much just vehicles.
Okay, well, where shall we start off? Alex, I think you highlighted something quite exciting that was happening from a hot hatch perspective this week.
Yeah, so Peugeot has been at Le Mans this week, and they've taken the covers off the E208 GTI, which is, I think, it's part of the Stellantis kind of toolkit, I guess, of hot vehicles that we're starting to see coming through. So it's a 276 brake horsepower version of the E208 with some quite cute retro styling touches on it. You've got the classic 205 GTI lettering on the wheels, and the kind of the holes on around the edge of the alloy wheels, like the 1.9 GTI, the little GTI logo on the C pillar. It's a cool looking car. Yeah. So and little red pinstripes around the place. It's nice to see Peugeot kind of getting in on the heritage stuff with it. So I'd be interested to see what it's like. When the old 208 GTI was a fun car. So this could be interesting. Slightly larger battery as well. So it's 280 miles of range. So and limited slip diff, lots of interesting sporty add-ons. It's nice to see a few electric hot hatches coming along, I think.
Yeah.
Happy days.
No, definitely had me at electric limit slip diff, because any performance car, it just needs it to be engaging to drive, I think. What was the non GTI like then? Because I'm guessing both of you, or maybe one of you, has driven it.
I've driven
significantly less powerful.
Yeah, but technically we've all driven it in a way, because we've driven the Corsa E, which is the same car underneath.
Okay, fair enough.
So, but I mean, it is good that Stellantis they've upped their game on the efficiency, because they weren't competitive with the early stuff. Because I remember when the Peugeot 208 electric came out, it was supposed to be crowned as the Zoe killer on range, and there's a few issues with the airbags on the old Zoes, but when they did the facelift and stuff, it wasn't as efficient as the old Zoe, which was a bit of a disappointment. But now they seem to have really got that now, and they are very efficient. And the French did it with diesel. They were one of the most efficient diesels engines and robust diesels, and it's good to see they're making that change with electric. And in other Stellantis news, something that Alex probably picked up at is the all-wheel drive Grandland is launching soon.
God, you guys love to go on Mount Vauxhall. Does my Sweden?
Well, it'll be the first all-wheel drive Grandland, the first all-wheel drive electric Vauxhall, because I don't think they've done any. Well, they've done their press pack. They said they haven't done any until now.
Do we know any stats on like battery size, charging speed?
That'll be the larger battery, won't it? Which is the 90 something kilowatt hour battery. Do you know? I don't have that handy. But yeah, it's. I can certainly pull it up quickly.
Yeah, based on the. Are they going to? I'm guessing it's going to have the new Vauxhall motor that Kev, you've been raving about from an efficiency point of view, ×2. So is this going to be potentially one of the most efficient non-Tesla electric cars out there, which is four-wheel drive?
I mean, especially if it has a 98 kilowatt hour battery.
311 miles of range. So that's 311 miles of range is less than the one that I've got. So I'm just dragging.
I think it's the same battery ever did.
It's actually got the 7. It's the same battery, yeah. It's not got the larger battery, because there is a long range battery in the Grandland now as well, isn't there? Or it's certainly on the way.
Soon. Yeah, and I think the all-wheel drive will probably get that at some point, because they have boasted that the all-wheel.
So it's not a massive drop in range.
Yes, because they have. Yeah, because they have said there is with the bigger battery and rear wheel drive variant, it'll be an over 400-mile range car. And in entry level spec, they're supposed to be aiming below the 40k price. So for entry level spec with the smaller wheels, with the big battery, you'll get a 400-mile range car for under 40k.
That is pretty impressive. Yeah,
I mean, it'll be a lot.
Go on, mate.
Yeah, it's not going to be as nice as the ones.
I was going to say,
we're really good at talking over each other this session, aren't we?
It's the delay. We'll blame a delay.
I think I'm on a delay, which I don't think is helping.
Okay.
I think I'm on a delay, which I don't think is helping.
Yeah,
So
yeah, you go next then, Alex.
No, I was going to say, you say about raving about Grandlands. I was taking some pictures of mine recently at a local charger, and another one pulled up in black, and I thought, oh, you know, I'm kind of used to, like, you know, you see somebody in the same car, they pull up next to you, and, you know, I mean, I met up with somebody at the pub on the basis, like last week, on the basis that we both drive the same car, not the Grandland, by the way, and they got out, and I kind of gave them a nod, like, car friend. They'd look completely baffled, and I was just kind of like, I need to get the hell out of this car park as quickly as I can. So just sheepishly sat in mine and just waited for it to finish, and then just like drove off.
Awkward.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, that's an aside.
I had a similar situation in the Grandland, because when I took some similar to you, taking some photos for the review of it, I was up in Leicestershire, and we found, my wife took me to the car park, which is like by a park and stuff. So it's, you know, with a lake, so it's quite nice scenic shots. And I was taking pictures of the car. And then a person came up to us, a lady came up to us and said, "Is there something wrong with this car park? I've noticed you've taken photos of all the car. Is this really rough? Should I be parking here?" It's like, no, I'm just taking some. It's like, the other thing, she must have thought I really love Vauxhalls because it had the number plate like L12 VXL. It's like, you've got to be quite a fan to go out and buy that number plate personally, haven't you?
Well, I must admit, there seems to be a lot of people with the same car as mine, so I can't really go like car friend, Tesla friend. You know, like, I'm sure you guys have had a car where a particular brand where people like to wave at each other. I think the only car that I've had like that was probably a Subaru Impreza. Subaru Impreza drivers used to like wave at each other. But maybe I should start like doing a different signal for Teslas just to see what reaction I get.
Tell you another car that people used to always wave with is when my wife had a Smart 4.2. All smart drivers used to wave to each other.
I can imagine that.
I can imagine a smart driver doing that. Yeah. Mini drivers. You think that mini drivers, like classic mini drivers, they'd wave at each other? That'd be, you know,
classic mini drivers. Yes, modern mini drivers probably not.
No, Robin Reliant, I think would be a good one. Oh, did you guys? I mean, I watched the Late Break show where that Austin Metro Turbo. Oh, did you guys see that episode?
I've not seen it yet. No.
Oh, you need to watch it. It's unbelievable. Oh, it's so good. But we digress. What were we talking about? We were talking about the Peugeot 208, and then you guys started talking about Vauxhalls again. And what I was going to mention is people might have noticed I whacked out a video earlier, which was the BYD Dolphin Surf. I'm just going to call it the Surf, and because I went to go and drive that, and then after, in keeping in the Stellantis, I drove the Leap motor, which is like £200 deposit, £200 a month, and I mean the BYD. Watch the video I did. I was really impressed actually. The Elite motor, I mean, it's only like £69 a month cheaper, but there was a huge difference. I'll probably whack that video out on Wednesday. But it's just great to see that there's so much choice, or small, cheap electric cars now. There's so many electric cars that I keep seeing on the road now. It's unbelievable. I think the tide has turned now, isn't it? Really, it's just and. We'll come back to the news later, but this feels like I think
I need to have a go with this.
In terms of your experience in North America, mate.
Well, they like their pickup trucks there. I mean, what surprised me is how many F-150 Lightnings you see. Literally, they're everywhere. They're so common. I mean, you can see why. Yes, I saw 2 Cybertrucks basically, but F-150 Lightnings, they've been embraced by businesses over there and everything. The power companies, F-150 Lightnings, all of the sort of same in Canada, the utility companies, they're just being used as a proper workhorse pickup truck. And they've all got
all those features of being able to use the batteries, haven't they? So it's a bit of a no-brainer being able to plug your power tools in and stuff like that, right?
Yeah. The only thing that shocked me was how noisy they are. I mean, it's probably a fake noise, but they do sound when they drive past you. There's quite a whine from them, which I'm guessing is a false noise at low speed. But it was a kind of almost purposeful whine. That a sort of whine of a powerful electric motor rather. So I'm guessing it's again, as we spoken before, a manufactured sound of what an electric vehicle should sound. Somebody thinks it should sound like. So and the other thing you see loads of is Chevy Bolts. I mean, something really I wish we got an opportunity to try in the UK. I mean, the range on them when I'm looking. I mean, I've got, as you do when you're away, you pick up a local magazine. If I pick up the 2025 Buyer's Guide for Car and Driver to just identify some of the cars that they have there. And there's loads of there's loads of choice in the EV thing. But I mean, especially in the pickup truck market, you've got the Cybertruck, obviously. So one of the new electric Hummers. Didn't see it do his party trick when it goes around the corner and uses this rear wheel steering, because it's quite a pronounced angle. Apparently, when it turns, it does literally at slow speeds. It's like it's even more extreme than the Mercedes stuff, because a lot of the Mercedes has rear wheel steering, the EQE, or with the big SUV one, and the EQS. But because it's got an option, they can crab steer by choice, can't it, on the Hummer as well? You can set it so you can make it quite aggressively turn the wheels in the same direction. So you've got the Chevy Silverado pickup truck as well there, which is another one. So all the stuff that we're lacking in the UK, they have loads of pickup trucks that are fully electric there. I mean, most of them, they don't look that big over in US, Canada, but a lot of them, I think, if they could just shrink them, they'd probably do well here, because they only got the Isuzu coming to UK and the Maxis, which doesn't quite have the payload it needs.
Well, the E-Terror 9, and this is what I found out recently, because I visited IM Group because I was checking out the Isuzu recently about, looking at their potential simulations with them, etc., with Dynamon. And they were saying the E-Terror 9, the load is awful, but it's actually down as a luxury car. It's not actually down as a pickup as such, which I didn't realize, because the towing capacity, the capacity in terms of weight is only about 650 kilograms. Which
means it's then not qualifying as a pickup truck.
Right.
I think Alex will correct me on this.
It's got to be over a ton, isn't it?
It's the ton. There's something about the ton payload, isn't it? So it's got to be able to
take 1 ton payload
to qualify as a proper pickup truck.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So it'll be in a different class altogether then, basically. That's interesting.
Would just be classed as a car, like the Raptor, what's it called, the Ranger Raptor. Is that it doesn't have a 1 ton payload, so it's not classed as a pickup truck. It's not classed as a commercial vehicle. It's classed as a car. Not that it really matters anyway these days, because there's no 1 ton pickup truck segment in the same way. Well, there is, but it's from a kind of tax perspective. A lot of it's been normalised. So,
is it? It's Ford.
And Alex might remember,
hybrid, aren't they?
What's that?
Plug-in hybrid, with the plug-in hybrid Ranger.
Ranger.
Right.
Yeah, and Alex might remember this as well. I said this is a test for Alex. What did the original Ranger Raptor what was it not able to do, which people expected a pickup truck to do on the first batch they launched?
Is it something to do with? God, I should know this, and I can't remember. Go on.
It wasn't homologated for towing at all. The original ones couldn't have a tow bar at all on them.
quality.
They changed that fairly quickly, probably because most people want to actually tow something with a pickup truck.
Yeah,
even if
it's kind of needed, isn't it?
So then
it's your posh caravan.
But MG5 was launched without being homologated for roof loads. So you had it printed in the brochure, but you couldn't actually put anything on the roof. Yeah,
that surprises me. Oh, excuse me. I'm not drinking. It's just empty.
But it was printed in the brochure. It had it printed in the brochure, but you couldn't put anything on the roof, from what I can remember. Not immediately, but like again, they fixed it fairly quickly on it. So,
well, did you see what fun I had with roof bars recently? This company sent me some roof bars, and
I missed that.
They were totally wrong, and there was me thinking I'd got it wrong, but actually it was the roof bars. But they weren't too difficult to fit. They just didn't fit. There are these nice little gullies in the Tesla where the glass is. These little arrows. You just like plug these little metal fixings in, which actually work really quite well. I was going to use them for holiday, but now I can't use them because they don't blooming fit. But there we go. Sorry, Kev, I messed up your flow with what's happening in American Canada. What else did you see which was of interest?
Well, I mean, a lot of Volvo electric cars, which is interesting when we think of who owns Volvo. Them being a Chinese brand, and quite a few Polestars as well.
Well, maybe they've got.
So I'm amazed at that. I mean, the other thing was
they haven't worked out that they're Chinese.
Yeah, the other thing, which is an interesting one for UK buyers soon, is I saw a lot of the Cadillac stuff, and the Cadillac stuff is is supposedly launching in the UK by the end of the year as a fully electric brand again. So Cadillac has had a fair number of cracks at the UK market.
I drove the SUV and I thought the SUV was. It seemed pretty nice. Seemed pretty nice to me. Drove it in Italy, I think. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's just so much choice, isn't there?
Yeah, because it's out in Europe already. And then there's, I mean, and seeing so many brands that things like some of the stuff is a lot lower spec than us as well. Like seeing the new Santa Fe with lots of grey plastic arches and stuff on it, which we don't get. Really basic looking stuff. I mean, I sent Alex a picture of they have the Ford Maverick there, which is their kind of not a proper. They don't class as a proper pickup truck, but it was on like white steel wheels. It actually looked quite good on white steel wheels.
I like the idea of that.
But yeah, I mean, I didn't see any hydrogen cars. I mean, the other thing which should be interesting to see if quite a few electric Hyundai Konas, well, quite a few Hyundai Konas there everywhere. They're quite common, most of the petrol ones, in the weird lower than our advanced spec, which puzzled. And the one I'd be interested to see if it comes over to the UK is the Jeep Recon, which is the fully electric Jeep inspired by the Jeep Wrangler.
Did you see much?
They're all reasonably. Not many rapid chargers, lots of like standard infrastructure. I mean, it seemed very weird, and a lot of their stuff is tethered. So they're type ones are tethered charge. I didn't see any untethered chargers really. All their AC ones are tethered chargers. So so quite a few. Subaru seems to do quite well there. There's a lot of Subarus in like kind of Canada and Portland. There's like Subarus everywhere, including the Solterra. I mean, Tesla's fairly common. Mini Countryman.
Yeah.
I was hoping to see, I didn't see any, is the VinFast VF8 and VF9. Because apparently they've started to solve the software. There was a lot of software issues with the early ones, and there were a lot of poor reviews that came out of the state. But now they seem to have Got that.
Do you think they'll actually sell many
some of these cars are
cars in America?
Do you really think they'll sell over 300? I mean, VinFast, they're going for it on luxury. They're aiming at the top, at the higher end of the price points already. You know, they start at $47,200 for the 8, and then it goes up to $71,000 for the VF9. But the ranges some of these cars are getting are on over 300 miles range on the American, is it EPA site? EPA rating, and that's kind of notoriously one of the harder ones to get good range on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they laugh at WLTP and CLTP and all of ours as being like really soft emission or really soft range targets. So I think it was interesting seeing how, as much as lots of people have said EVs don't work out in the States. I mean, to be fair, I went visit New York, which is quite quite strict. This is similar it's similar to California. Like, when you watch loads of films and you see the yellow cabs, the old-fashioned ones, you don't actually see any now, even though new films have them, because to have a yellow cab in New York, it has to be under a certain age, and all of those old Lincoln Town cars so everything's either electric or hybrid. So there's loads of Toyota Siennas. So,
I've noticed you've not mentioned Tesla at all.
And quite a few Broncos. I quite like the new Bronco.
You haven't mentioned Tesla at all yet, Kev.
Oh, there's loads of Tesla rideshare cars. Well, they're a bit too common over there, to be honest.
Okay. Well,
it's kind of the default electric car seems to be a Tesla over there.
What a balanced summary, Kevin. That's all I want. Or just want balance.
Well, that's why I thought I better not mention Tesla, because there's just loads of the things.
Okay. Yeah, good point. Good point. Whereabouts exactly did you go?
Yeah, so did New York, a mad day in New York, going basically around everywhere, 33,000 steps in one day. I partially blame Alex for pointing out some of the Ghostbusters locations, so I then had to find them.
Sorry.
Had to be done, and then kind of pick up a show on Broadway and Times Square and stuff. The old American cheesecake. I was literally there one day, and then on to sort of Boston and that way, and a bit of Canada then. So Canada had probably had more F-150 Lightnings than the US even. But Chevy Bolts, if you're going to rate the commonality of electric cars there, you've got kind of the Teslas are everywhere. And then the next common one is the Chevy Bolt. They're like literally everywhere.
Yeah. Did you rent a car at all?
And a couple of Chevy Volts as well. No, it was New York. You'd be mad to. It's easier to just.
No, I mean, like when you went to the other places.
Weirdly, it's not as everything's quite close, and you forget how close it is.
No, sure.
I know there for like a day, so. But I wouldn't mind driving Route 66. I just need to find an EV to do it in. Well, if any like Ford or one of those want to offer me one for a week or two, I'll drive it across the states. Well,
based on their charging infrastructure, you might be better off in a Tesla, mate. Oh,
am I delayed? Yes, I think I might be.
I think you are. I think you guys are both massively delayed. Of course, I'm not delayed at all. But we'll get through it. We'll get there. We'll get there. So, was there anything else that you spotted that was kind of like a bit strange from an electric vehicle point of view?
Not really. I mean, it was kind of just all the. I mean, there is a delay, isn't it? I mean, it seemed to be the stuff you'd expect to see.
Yeah.
Which is like, I mean, some of the Cadillac stuff, but it's not I mean, the one thing that showed is like I see quite a few Ioniq 5s, and obviously I drive an Ioniq 5. And what kind of I think their cars have got slightly smaller in some respects, but ours have got bigger. So we've met in the middle. So cars are now world cars that are everywhere.
What about non-EVs? Were there any interesting non-EVs that you saw?
There's a massive delay.
Mm-hmm.
And now Alex has vanished. We're having good technical stuff on this one, aren't we?
Yeah. So yeah, what other cars did you spot, Kev, other than EVs out there? Just to keep it balanced, of course. Well, any interesting things that you saw, car related wise?
A couple of the Dodge Hellcats and stuff. So you see quite a few of those kind of noisy V8s, supercharged V8s.
You heard them before you saw them, I guess.
And the truck equivalent as well. I did see. Yeah, and what's the other one? The SUV one. Is it the Trailhawk? Is it? No, what's the one that's the SUV version, but with the Hellcat engine in?
Trackhawk.
Oh, can't think of what it's called. That's it, Trackhawk. So you sort of heard, again, you heard them before you saw them.
I think Kev, you're the most delayed now.
There's so much lag, isn't there?
Fine. I think you're like you're living in 1999 or something.
I'm gonna go out and go back in.
Yeah.
If in doubt, turn it off and back on again.
Yeah, I'm going to remove him because he's yeah. It's been fun and games. So shall we go back to what was happening in the news? So we spoke about the 208, the Xiaomi, their new sporty 4-door jobby has just won the Nürburgring lap record, hasn't it? Was it against the Rimac? Wasn't it?
Mm.
That's really
sure. I've been Yeah, no, again, it's one of those. It's interesting to see. I know, it'd be interesting to see the full sort of details of a lap like that, and sort of see what full throttle lap of the Nürburgring looks like in terms of energy usage and regen and all sorts of other bits and pieces. In some ways, I'm kind of in a nerdy mood where I feel like I'd like to see that as much as the actual outright time. I mean, these vehicles are so powerful now that you should be able to get around the Nürburgring pretty bloody swiftly.
Yeah.
So yeah. It's
I did also see
that thrown down, basically.
I did see also that apparently Tesla Model Y was the biggest selling car in China in May. Fastest 4-door EV, according to Keith. Yeah. I'm guessing it is based on the lap record. I don't know what the stats are. I think obviously it's just against the plate, isn't it, from that performance point of view? And the Lucid Air, isn't it? Lucid Air something, isn't it? There's like a special edition that they do. But yeah, he's kind of got. I don't really think. Yeah, Taycan Turbo S GT or something like that, isn't it?
Yeah, it was the yeah.
I don't really think they're going to make it much quicker, though, are they? I mean, there's not going to be really much difference in the times now. Because sure, we get into the limits of the driver, and the tires. It's got to be more of a limit on the tires because of the weight of these electric vehicles, right? I suppose until there's a battery technology which will give the same performance but half the weight. That's where that accelerating out of corners and through the corners. I think that's going to be the next big thing, isn't it? It's that battery technology that is the thing to focus on. And of course, something I did see actually this week is that BYD, and after we kept on having a bit of a moan that BYD keep promoting these stupidly fast charging times, and now they've teamed up with CATL to put out some sort of infrastructure to help roll out that. So I mean, that's a hell of a combination, a collab between BYD and CATL. That's a real, that's something to get Tesla to quake in its boots a little bit. I would say if those two are teaming up.
Does any Tesla stuff use CATL batteries? I mean, CATL are in absolutely everything. I know Tesla use some BYD stuff, don't they?
Yeah.
Some of the Tesla products are using BYD, but maybe not CATL as well.
Yeah, I would I'd be surprised if they didn't. Because what do they use? They use Panasonic, LG, like I said, BYD. Yeah, I would be surprised they didn't use CATL. They are so Mark's just chipped in. Oh, nice Twizzy, mate. They are probably going for the first sub 7 minute. I wonder what that. I'm going to go and I'll let you guys chat while I find out what the time was for the Xiaomi, because it'd be interesting to see what it was.
How you getting on, Kev?
I'm just. Oh.
That's a hell of a lag.
I would say it's not doing too well.
Oh, good.
Right, here we go. So the time in 7 minutes and 7 minutes and 5 seconds. So yeah, that's pretty good. I'd say decent. But yeah, like I said, I think
as you say, weight's the big thing at the ring, isn't it? So
yeah, no, absolutely. Have you ever taken your Polo on the ring, Alex?
Yep.
Have you?
I've been around the ring and mine in the wet, spun it. You're going to ask me what time I've been around in, and I didn't time it.
Did you not?
That seemed like a recipe for disaster. But yes, I did go around the ring in the wet, and it was terrifying because you just come around. I mean, there's all buses and bikes and all sorts of things, and everything's like, you're either coming up across like really slow traffic or you've got really fast traffic coming up behind you, and it was really busy when we were out there as well. But yeah,
I've just seen that.
Kevin live for the International Space Station this week. Yes, he's got his special headphone and mic on.
What was probably worse is I could probably, when I listened to the podcast 20 miles offshore in a ship, and it was probably better than this. With that. Although it does seem to have improved in a different browser, so hopefully it'll be better now.
It does seem to be better already, which is good. So yeah, have you finished with what you were saying about America and Canada, Kev? Is there anything else that you wanted to chip in with?
I mean, the main thing there is no matter what people say about EV mandates and rolling back on stuff, a lot of states are just ploughing ahead. New York's ploughing ahead. They're all quite emission target. I mean, the last time I went to New York was 20 years ago, and it's considerably cleaner the air there now when you go around there. There's all the taxis are hybrids. Stuff is a lot quieter than I was when I was there last. So I don't know if there's been an impact on tourism. The stats seem to say there is, but I mean, it didn't seem any less welcoming when I was there. So I think a lot of his people just worry about the political situation and don't go there, rather than there being an actual issue with going there.
Well, I've seen a lot of protests which seem to be quite anti-ICE at the moment, which surprised me. Tend to be mainly in Los Angeles at the moment, I think. So that was an interesting thing to see.
Oh, actually, there was one other thing I saw.
They were setting fire to Waymo iPads.
Yeah.
Well, that's what reminded me of it. Is Boston is just starting to roll out Waymo, so it's in the training testing phase. So they get driven round all the streets by a person. So a person drives it round and teaches the car, so we got looped loads of times with the same guy just driving multiple ways around multiple streets, and they build up the mapping with a human driver. Because I thought that Waymo's a bit wrong. Why has he got a person behind the wheel? But it's all switched on, all the LiDAR spinning and everything. But they're starting to roll them out ready for Boston.
Interesting. Well, I mean, obviously being a bit of a Tesla nerd, I think that obviously they've started doing the robo taxi wise, haven't they, in Austin or wherever it was. So based on the technology that they've got, it'd be interesting to see which one people choose. I mean, what would you choose? You just choose the one that's going to be cheapest, get you there quickest, right?
I think that's what most people will do. Yeah.
Because I did when I saw the Waymo, I was almost, because I didn't realize they were in testing phase and stuff. I was thinking, Yeah, I was thinking I'm just going to install the app and just go for a, even if it's like round the block, just to go in away mode
Worth
cab
doing.
to see what it's like.
I'd do it. I'd give it a go.
Yeah, no, it would. I think it'd be good fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because
you're allowed
the
to
UK,
drink, you're allowed to drink beers in the back.
I don't know.
Better than that, you can drink beers in the front seat.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, because they're starting to do the trials in, is it London with is it Wave, the UK one that's going to be the equivalent?
Yeah, there's a few projects kind of rolling out. I'm still skeptical about what extent of these, but yeah.
They said apparently London has unique challenges to any like other global city. Apparently lots of people just walk out in front of stuff in London and assume it's going to stop, which is causing it more, which is much harder to program for.
Trouble is, with a lot of European cities, they're not really designed for cars, let alone for autonomous cars, and that makes it much harder. Whereas with China, they can build cities to order, they can put roads where they want and segregate the traffic as they like, and that makes things a little bit easier to kind of roll out, doesn't it? So,
I'll tell you something that really pissed me off this week was when I saw Matt Watson go, "Oh, we're gonna charge a car. Everyone, EV drivers say it's easy."
Yes.
EV drivers say it's easy.
I saw that.
So we're just going to plug in while having a coffee and go to the toilet and see if it's as easy as they say. And they plugged in at 85%. And it's like,
82%, yeah.
So
either
they just don't know how EV batteries work, which I kind of doubt it, or they're just doing it just to get hits, like obviously, because that's what everyone seems to do these days. But it's just so frustrating when people see that. It's just like, oh no. And people that don't know that a battery really shouldn't be DC charged, at that sort of level, because it's that much harder to, in terms of quick DC charging. Even if you've got a 300 kilowatt charger and it can take 300 kilowatts, if you start at 85%, it's not going to be anywhere close to 300. It's probably going to be more like 50 to 100, which is still pretty good. But what car were they driving? I can't remember now. But it was like,
Polestar.
Was it the Polestar? Like in 10, 15 minutes, it went up 20 miles or something like
3
that.
3 or 4%. Yeah, it's nothing. Yeah.
Whereas if they plugged in at 20%, 30% with a heated battery, you know that you get 100 miles with a decent fast charging DC charger, a decent fast charging car. It just really pissed me off. It's just like, yeah.
Well, it's almost like other YouTubers that someone we know may be doing parody videos of at the moment that may own a Taycan. That's like, it's so difficult to charge. It's like, you deliberately picking something and making it look harder because it gets clicks. And it's mad that works.
It's a sad, sorry state of affair. I have noticed there was a trend a few years ago on social media for spelling things wrong and making mistakes in videos so that people come on to correct you. And you know that if you do a video like that where you charge from 82% onwards, that people are going to come on and tell you, well, that's nonsense. And if you plug in at 10, you'd probably be leaving with like 40, 50, 60% by that in that time. So yeah, it's just to drive engagement, isn't it? It gets it pushed up the rankings, but unfortunately it does also make you look like you don't know what you're talking about, and it doesn't help the conversation. That's the annoying thing about it.
Yeah, but Alex, this is CarWow. They don't need help with the ratings. They've got how many million subscribers? They're just being, I don't know who decided to, we got a couple of bits in here. Best thing, if Tesla get to FSD, it won't matter that the bloody auto wipers don't work. Good point. The crap master. I'm guessing that was directed towards Matt Watson. But yeah,
no, I think it's the Taycan owner.
No,
right.
Yeah.
Okay. But it just frustrates me. Like, they don't need to do that. It's just pathetic, really. Really, really annoys me. And like, I see Chiro of Petrolheadism after he putting out his thing saying no EVs allowed at his show, that he's promoting Sustain petrol. for classics and stuff. So the sustainable fuel that made me chuckle this week as well. But yeah, hey ho.
Worth remembering that you can make the delays. You can make fuel that's net zero, but if you produce it even using entirely sustainable, entirely renewable energy and carbon capture and all the rest of it, if you run that vehicle in an enclosed space, it'll still kill you. You can be zero CO2. You don't get rid of the other kind of air quality issues that come with burning fossil fuels. I think it's a very exciting technology. But
yeah. Oh no, I haven't got an issue like
cars,
keeping cars on the road. I haven't got an issue at keeping cars on the road at all. But when people are going down the route of, oh, do you know what? Doesn't matter about electric cars. Sustainable fuel now. Let's just keep making petrol cars. That doesn't, it's that kind of point of view. It's just like you're on drugs. But absolutely, to keep the historical
it's the sort of stuff as well. Yeah, it's the sort of people as well who think it's really ambitious to roll out a huge network of charging points, who then go and say that we can just create a supply chain for sustainable fuels that doesn't exist at the moment, that use 5 times the energy to produce compared to just charging a battery, and still don't solve the air quality issues. I think it's ambitious to think that will save the combustion engine. Great, exciting for stuff like this, where it means I can keep it on the road for longer. But other than that, I don't see that it's gonna, change the world. So,
yeah, I mean, his point was regardless of the battery percentage, he feels should give more range than what it did in 15 minutes. I know that's not how batteries work, but he really just wanted the engagement. Yeah, I mean, it could be that the batteries late, new technology batteries come out that it would be faster, but it's just bad journalism.
The counter argument is always, if you've got an 82% charge, you wouldn't bother plugging in, and if you wouldn't stop to charge at 82%. And so if you were plugging in at 82%, you'd be doing it because you were stopped because you needed a wee or a poo or a coffee or whatever, as they were doing in the video. And in that case, 10, 20 miles of extra range is a bonus. It's not a necessity anyway. So who cares? The charging time at 82% is kind of irrelevant in a car with that much range anyway. So it's just it's an odd way to do it.
Yeah. That's a bit about me, like in terms of what's going on in the media and what I've seen, like perked my attention. If anyone is interested who's just jumped on recently, I've just put out a video on the BYD Surf, like my first impressions and a drive of that, which I was just really impressed with, to be honest. But focusing on what's happening this weekend, we're all going to be at the EV rally. So if anyone is anywhere close to London or Brighton on Saturday, you should come down and see us off. I desperately want to change my wheels on Rusty before I go, but you'll certainly hear me because I'll be doing lots of annoying noises to upset everyone. But yeah, it should be good fun, I think. Remind us, Kev and Alex, what are you guys driving down in?
So we're in the Sea Lion 7, so possibly a bit quicker than your Tesla. Technically,
is it full electric?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, the CLU you're thinking of is the plug-in hybrid.
Well, based on the fact that I know it's an EV rally and I'll probably be driving it at a decent speed, you guys are going to be, driving like Miss Daisy. So maybe we could try on the Brighton strip after the event, mate. Unless you're...
That just...
I don't think BYD would like it.
No. I'm just thinking of like at the end of Back to the Future. That's what causes all these problems.
I was just thinking the same thing. You've got
as
to watch out
long as
for
there's
Rolls-Royce pulling out in front of you, otherwise you'll never learn to play the guitar.
Funnily enough,
your career in rock music.
Funnily enough, I have got a chicken noise that I can produce during the EV rally. So, Marty McFly, are you chicken? Nobody calls me chicken. Spaceballs, the movie too. Not really car relevant, but that's being announced. I'm not sure what that's going to be like, or if there's going to be an original cast.
Yeah, apparently Mel Brooks is still in it, and he's going to be in it, but it's been filmed in the next 2 years. He's like 98. He's going to be like 100 when he's in it.
Rick Moranis is returning to acting for it as well, which is interesting. Maybe they're capitalizing on the Tesla thing and the plaid, the kind of the plaid coming back into just discussed. So yeah.
Well, it's supposed to be like Elon's favorite film, isn't it? Spaceballs, supposedly.
Yeah,
I hear. I can't. I think I might have watched it like once, but I just remember it being, not the greatest.
Yeah, because Rick Moranis was supposed to be coming back for Shrunk, which was his first role back, but the pandemic stopped them filming it, and then they cancelled it. So he came out of retirement for nothing.
Yeah, no ideal. What you guys got anything interesting going on this week?
Catching up with, I believe in the day job, I'm having 2 ID buzzes delivered next week, but the buzz cargoes, so that'll be interesting. I'm interested to see the cargo after speaking to Alex and him telling me it's very different to the buzz like car. The interior and stuff is all they have made it very utilitarian. Although I've heard the tow bars are
got some really quite clever little features on it. So yeah. You can't get it with a normal tow bar. You can only get it with the motorized tow bar.
Oh, okay. The old classic: press the button, wax your shins, and you'd pop in for the next 10 minutes. Move show is this week. I'm not going to be there. That's in London Excel, I think, on the Wednesday, Thursday. A couple of my colleagues are going. But yeah, unfortunately, I'm not. Are you guys going to that at all? Move, Kev?
No, I've got to catch up after a week off. I've got to. Yeah, I'm going to be pretty much desk bound, catching up on all the stuff I haven't been able to do when I've been away.
No, fair enough. Well, yeah, I'm just going to be head down. Quite a lot of stuff going on this week, and trying to get Rusty clean, ready for Saturday. It's going to be a very early start on Saturday. I haven't even looked at the times yet. But it should be good fun, shouldn't it? And I think we'll probably have like potentially a live on the Saturday. What do you reckon?
Yeah, if we can get the technology to work better than this.
Yeah, so if people are looking for the live, we may have one actually in person, so there won't be any delay, which would be good. Nice for a change, hey chaps. That'd be really, really good. But there we go.
After an early start, maybe there will be. Maybe it'll be asking questions and you hear your brain ticking over in the background before you answer.
No, absolutely. You guys got anything else to cover, or shall we cut it short due to all the fun and games we've been having in this session?
Yes, we have.
I think the only thing that we did discuss.
Go on, Alex.
Yeah, the only thing we did discuss is Trump pulling the plug on the California's waiver to set its own emissions standards, but that's a kind of a TBC thing. There'll probably be a couple of lawsuits and various other bits and pieces that will kick off over the next week and prevent that from happening, or who knows with the US, changes from 1 minute to the next. But if California loses its ability to set its own rules and deadlines on that will mean that all the other states that follow California will also lose their ability to set their own deadlines. So that's quite a big deal for the US. But just seems very short term to me, because it was pulled under the last Trump presidency, reinstated under Biden, and then it's been pulled again under Trump. So this stuff must be really frustrating as a manufacturer or anyone who's actually investing in putting this technology out on the roads in the US, because you just don't know what you're dealing with, or who's going to do what, or what's going to get pulled, or what legal issues are going to stand in the way of actually doing anything. So you need direction, and they're not getting it.
Sorry to do this to everybody, but I've just thought of something else as well, which I saw in the news, which was, and I wish I'd written it down, was that apparently Toyota say that hybrids are better for the environment than electric cars. Did you guys see that?
Oh, yes. The fact is, it something like some ludicrous number of hybrids is better than like 9 electric cars.
I've seen those figures before. I have seen those figures before.
Any credibility in those figures?
Their argument is that battery and split it up over a number of hybrids, then you're getting the similar sort of benefit to having a handful of expensive EVs that nobody can afford. That's or that, you know, you're better off splitting that carbon footprint of producing those batteries over a number of vehicles and having a lot of very efficient vehicles rather than a lot of very inefficient vehicles and a handful of very efficient vehicles. So there's some credibility to it, but I think, I mean, it's I don't know. There's not. I would be very careful about kind of. I think unfortunately Toyota has a tendency at the moment with what it's doing to kind of alienate the people that are, you know, traditional kind of Prius buyers and kind of people with a, you know, sustainability minded view of motoring. And I think I don't think it's a particularly wise idea. But there, what do I know? I'm not head of marketing at Toyota Global, and Toyota's doing some really interesting things with EVs and sustainable, you know, sustainable fuels and hydrogen and other bits and pieces in the background. And I kind of feel dunking on EVs doesn't kind of undermine some of the sensible stuff that they come out with, which I think is a bit of a shame.
Yeah,
because they should have the market lead on the electric technology, because a hybrid is electric to an extent. So you think they would have honed the efficiency to just then stick that with a battery instead of an engine, but they just seem to have rested on their laurels. But you could argue that, you know, Nissan probably kept the original Leaf for far longer than they should have done.
Yeah, but then you look at people like Hyundai. I mean, Hyundai's managing to do all the interesting stuff that Toyota's doing, and also is absolutely just. I mean, they are absolutely smashing it out the park with the hot petrol stuff and the hot electric stuff. They're doing just a really solid range of vehicles to fit all sorts of different niches. I don't understand why.
Are they profitable?
I think that would be a hard question. That would be something that would be beyond the levels of access that I would have in terms of financials on that front.
But you've got to admit that they are, you know, similar to BYD. They are massively integrated with, you know, Hyundai, Kia. They own the ships, they own the steel, they own all of the infrastructure around making their cars. So, which is similar to the Chinese brands. So,
or do you think it's a slightly more complicated play with regards to the money generated from everything to do with the ICE engines, all the service parts? Bearing in mind the amount of moving parts in a petrol car, let alone a hybrid, you know, where is all that revenue generation going to be coming from if they go solely electric? So maybe this is the play just to delay things, a bit like the tactics that the cigarette companies used to use, you know, back in the day, when it's like, yeah, smoking's fine for you. Yeah, you got a cough, have a cigarette, because that'll sort you right out. Yeah, probably not exactly the same, but do you know what I mean? Like in terms of the actual revenue potential loss, if they just go electric or start highlighting, do you know what, electric? So like just to try and keep that money train going.
I mean, there's
the trouble is that you have with all that. Go on, Kev.
It's all well with all the R&Ds they've put into it. They've got to get that back over a certain period of time, haven't they? I guess probably something similar to what Alex is going to say. So they've just stretched it over a number of years.
But they're going to have markets that are still going to be combustion engines for a long time. So they've got opportunities to amortize those costs in those markets while those markets move to the ability to take EVs. So I think there's some of what Toyota says is really interesting and balanced and actually really quite sensible. I do feel sometimes like the message gets lost in trying to look like it's on one side or the other, and they're not. They're quite open-minded about it. Generally speaking, when I've spoken to people at Toyota, their view on things is it's best not to put all your eggs in one basket and to have different, because you never know whether the politics are going to shift and then suddenly you don't have anything underneath it. And actually, if you look at stuff like, I mean, diesel, you know, look at all the European manufacturers who put all their eggs in one basket with diesel, and then all of a sudden the floor fell out from underneath diesel, and they were kind of scrabbling to try and catch up and offset CO emissions with EVs and other bits and pieces that they would. It was all kind of it all happened very quickly for them. So I can understand why, as a manufacturer, and for the reasons we were talking about with the US earlier, even, you know, where you just don't know where things are going to go, The trouble is that there's a lot of skepticism, isn't there, about EVs and whether it's going to be like diesel, where in 10 years' time we look back and go, well, actually, there was some huge, horrible scandal underneath the surface, and all the wheels fall off it again. So I think the messaging's got to be very clear on it, and it's got to be very, very transparent, very robust, and kind of like, this is the way it's going, but we need to sort this, which I think is a valid discussion.
Yeah, no,
There's
I agree,
my balanced answer.
And on that balanced bombshell, I think we should call it a day. But yeah, guys, keep an eye out for a live potentially on Saturday where we'll all be in person. There'll be none of this fun and games so much. But thanks everyone for listening in, and we'll see you next week. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Cheers.